Hi guys, welcome back. This week we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of straight facts, we're theory crafting the evolution lines for the villains of the original Digimon Adventure. We basically just have two rules for it. Everything must have existed before the end of Adventure 1, and if the show hasn't given us a proper line, we're just going to get the best guess. So we're going to start off tonight with the OG bad guy himself, Devimon. For his rookie, we actually have two options. We have Tsukaimon, who is a dark version of Piedmon, and since Devimon is meant to be the evil, corrupted version of Angemon, it only makes sense for us to have this little guy as our rookie. But I prefer Devimon. Not only from the fact that his name is just a little Devimon, but also there are a lot of people that theorize that the Devimon that appears in the show is actually the reincarnated version of the original Devimon. But he's just back, still conniving, and now serving bigger baddies in a very Starscream-esque position. For our ultimate, Myotismon would fit really well, but we are trying to avoid as much overlapping as we can, so we're going to go with SkullSatamon. He made his anime debut in Adventure 2, but he made his actual debut in V-Tamer. So we're going to keep him. Also from V-Tamer, we have Piedmon or Daemon, who seems to perfectly wrap up this line of I want to be better than everyone else, and just encapsulates everything that Devimon is, being the Lord of Wrath. The really cool thing with this line is that SkullSatamon can actually be acquired in some games by DNA Digivolving Ogremon with Devimon, which we kind of see a preemptive version of in Digimon Adventure. After that, we have the Etemon line, our King of Rock himself. Now, Etemon might look like a beast. He's actually a puppet Digimon. So there's somebody or something inside that suit. The most common champions for puppet Digimon are either Tsukaimon or Numemon. And as Numemon is a lot more closely associated to the Daemon line, we're going to go with Tsukaimon. Being one of the screw-up choices in most media, he could come from any rookie, but we're going to stick real close to his home with his faithful companion, Chumon, who, while he's not a puppet himself, he has a lot of the characteristics that fit puppet Digimon, with an almost, and I know this is weird considering he is part of a cartoon, but he has a very Western slapstick cartoon vibe to him, which fits with the puppets really well. And we don't need to try and guess at the mega level, because the show gave us Etemon. After him, we had the Myotismon line. Now, again, we could go with Devimon as a champion, but to avoid the overlap, we're going to go with something else a little bit spooky. We're going to go with Bakermon. Bakermon is a ghost-type Digimon, but the cool thing for him, giving a nice little tie-in to Devimon, is that underneath this sheet, because that is not actually meant to be Bakermon's body, we actually see Devimon-like arms come out. And we're going to go with a very common Bakermon rookie with Candlemon, who didn't appear in the show until Adventure 2, but did appear in V-Tamer as well in one of the first chapters. And again, the show shows us a nice mega level for Myotismon with VenomMyotismon. So Myotismon would have been a cooler aesthetic. He did not exist at this point in time. After this, we get to our Dark Masters. So we're going to start off the same way the show did, with Machinedramon. There are a multitude of options we could have gone with for Machinedramon, because he is just a bunch of different parts slapped together. We could have gone with MetalSeadramon, because MetalMyotismon's faceplate is used as the knee guard. It is also very similar to Andromon's faceplate as well. We could have gone with one of the Metal Greymons, as he has Metal Greymon's hand on one side. But what I think we're going to go with is the actual faceplate of Machinedramon, Piedmon. An argument could also be made for Megadramon, but I feel with the dark coloration and darker vibes that Gigadramon gives, he just fits a little bit better with Machinedramon. Now, champion-wise, it's a bit tricky because Gigadramon doesn't really evolve from many things, but I think the perfect form for it is Deltamon, because I can see these two heads very easily becoming Gigadramon's hand cannons, and also Deltamon is a little bit mechanical, also a little bit draconic, and that fits this line perfectly. But a rookie level that encapsulates those things as well, a little bit robotic, a little bit dragon, can only be one thing at this point, and that's Toyogamon. With his cute demeanor, you wouldn't think he would fit this line, but he is a mechanical Digimon that is part of the robots, part of the dragons, so he is going to be our absolute goat of a pick. Next up, we have a very straightforward one. We have MetalSeadramon. MetalSeadramon, we actually see every part of its evolution line at one point or another in the show, being MetalSeadramon, MegaSeadramon, NormalSeadramon, and then Betamon. This one's nice, this one's easy. We're going to move straight on. Puppetmon is next, and while he's never actually given an evolution line or anything of that sort, but we have a very wooden vibe, because we have Puppetmon from Cherrymon, from Woodmon, and then the most common Woodmon, Revo, Mushroomon. Though there is an alternate way we can do this, because Puppetmon in Digimon World DS is actually labeled as a cursed Woodmon, so Puppetmon could actually just be a warp Digivolution from Woodmon, skipping over the Cherrymon entirely, or a Death Evo, which I think works perfectly for him. The Mushroomon just fits a bit too perfectly as well, because both of them are meant to be not actually evil, but just pranksters that go a little bit too far. And last for our Dark Masters is Piedmon. There we go. Piedmon is a little bit tricky, because there are a lot of people that like to use the Myotismon line as a piggyback into Piedmon. Nowadays we have Jokermon, but at the time we didn't really have these as options. But I think with Piedmon being a wizard, we're going to go with Phantomon. Phantomon, while he works very well as a spooky thing, he also has some levels of magic to him, with a Eye of Wadjet on his chain, the ball at the end of his chain. Also, every time you see the inside of his cape, there is markings of power, the Digiscript inside. And that actually ties us in perfectly to our champion level, Wizardmon, who we can obviously see his same markings on his cape, but also obviously a wizard. The only thing that doesn't tie them together is Wizardmon is meant to be from a different world, Piedmon meant to be from the Digi world. And this is actually where we're going to use Tsukaimon for our rookie, because there is a lot to be said for Piedmon being another corrupted version of the Angemon line, but going in a very different route to your Devimon Myotismon. The last thing on our line is Apocalymon, and he is kind of difficult to do for this, because Apocalymon was born as Apocalymon. He did not actually digivolve into this form. But that's not going to stop us, because people actually think that this is just a fusion. Because there are aspects of many different evil Digimon put in there. Between the aesthetics of him being very much Piedmon and Myotismon inspired, he can turn his chains into Dark Master's heads, as well as Devimon's arms. And the torso and head coming out of the orb is also very reminiscent of Etemon when he was fused with his Dark Network. But also, we have a little bit of a sneaky one, because doesn't this evolution line just look a little bit too perfect? And again, Etemon, we're just going to leave him out of this line because he's not really that big a villain. He's more of a joke. So what do you think? Do these villain lines make sense, or would you build them differently? Let me know down in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more Digimon deep dives. I've been Faye, you've been awesome, and I'll see you all next time.